Hello everyone, welcome to MedLife series of live webinars. I am Dr. Priyanka Sachdev and today I am going to cover a small topic from systemic pharmacology, that is diuretics. In this video I will cover the basics of diuretics. So just give me a second so I can start. So here we go. So I am covering a topic from systemic pharmacology, that is the diuretics. But before understanding diuretics, you people must understand the structure and physiology of normal nephron. We know that human have a pair of kidneys, the right kidney and the left kidney. Each kidney has three parts. The outermost part of the kidney is known as cortex, the middle part is known as medulla, and the innermost part is known as pelvis. Each kidney contains nearly 1 million of nephrons. So there are two kidneys. Human have 2 million of nephrons. Nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. So what are the parts of the nephron? There are 5 parts of nephron. We already know the first part of the nephron is known as glomerulus. This is the first part of the nephron. It is known as glomerulus. Actually, glomerulus consists of 2 parts. The yellow portion here, a capsule-like structure, is known as Bowman's capsule. And in the Bowman's capsule, a tuft of capillaries is there. You can see a tuft of capillaries residing inside the Bowman's capsule. The complete of these, both of these, that is the tuft of capillaries and the Bowman's capsule, together known as glomerulus. Then the second portion of the nephron is proximal convoluted tubule, also known as PCT. Next part is loop of Henle. Loop of Henle have two limbs. You can see in this loop there are 2 limbs. First limb is descending, then it is ascending. So there is loop of Henle descending limb coming down and loop of Henle ascending limb going upwards. This descending limb is thin portion and this ascending is thick portion. So loop of Henle have 2 portions, descending limb and ascending limb. The next portion is distal convoluted tubule, that is DCT. Then last portion is collecting tubules, that is CT. So PCT, first is glomerulus, then PCT, then loop of Henle descending limb, loop of Henle ascending limb, then DCT, then collecting tubules. So let's move further. Again, in this diagram, you can see all parts of nephron clearly here. One more thing, um, all the tubules together, that is PCT, loop of Henle, descending limb as well as ascending limb, both limbs, DCT and collecting tubules. All these together are known as tubules. All these together are known as tubules. So I can say nephron have 2 parts. One is glomerulus, that is Bowman's capsule and tuft of capillaries, and other is tubules. Tubules consist of PCT, loop of Henle, DCT and collecting tubules. Now concentrate at the glomerulus. How does this glomerulus function? How does this is formed? Can you see a arteriole is coming inside it, forming a tuft of capillaries inside it and existing out of it. So this arteriole coming inside is known as afferent arteriole. Afferent arteriole is coming inside, forming a tuft of capillary and going out as efferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole is coming inside and efferent arteriole is exiting out. And in the middle of between, a tuft of capillaries is formed. Can you see this in this diagram? Yes, you can see. Just give me a second. So here you can see this is the afferent arteriole. The blood is coming inside through afferent arteriole. The blood is coming inside and forming a tuft of multiple capillaries, a tuft of capillaries, and it is exiting out in the form of efferent arteriole. So this is afferent arteriole going inside the Bowman space, and this is efferent arteriole. So now listen, afferent arteriole is coming, blood is coming inside, it is entering into the tuft of capillaries. Now whatever substances which are supposed to be eliminated from the body in the form of urine get filtered here, they get separated from the blood and they get accumulated in the Bowman's capsule, the space in the Bowman's capsule, that is Bowman's space. And the blood, apart from that, those substances leave with the help of efferent arteriole. So you got it. So that was all about glomerulus. Now, what happens to the efferent arteriole? I told you that afferent arteriole is coming inside, forming a tuft of capillary, and efferent arteriole is exiting out. So, what happens to this efferent arteriole? Afferent arteriole is coming from the renal artery. From the renal artery, afferent arteriole is coming and entering inside the glomerulus, inside the Bowman space, forming a tuft of capillary. Efferent arteriole is exiting out. This efferent arteriole further forms a bunch of capillaries over these tubules, all these tubules, that is PCT, loop of Henle, DCT, and collecting tubule. This is known as vasa recti. This bunch of capillaries over the tubule, that is peritubular capillaries, is known as vasa recti. It covers all the tubules very tightly. You can see in this diagram. Can you see? This is the glomerulus. I am marking it for you. This is the glomerulus. Can you see? This is the renal artery. From the renal artery, afferent arteriole is coming. It is entering inside the glomerulus. Just see, it is entering inside the glomerulus, forming a tuft of capillary, and efferent arteriole is coming out. Efferent arteriole is coming out, and after it, efferent arteriole is forming a bunch of capillaries over all the tubules, covering all the tubules so tightly, so packly. It is known as vasa recti or peritubular capillaries. Correct. Again, in this diagram, the same thing is shown. Same thing is shown in this diagram also. Now, I have drawn a nephron, simplified structure of a nephron for you. I just want to explain you something here. Now, can you see this is the nephron? The first thing is Bowman space, then all the tubules are there. All the tubules, that is PCT, loop of Henle, DCT, and collecting tubules, are like cylindrical structure. If you imagine a three-dimensional diagram of a nephron, these tubules are like cylinders. These are like circular cylinders inside. So all these tubules, that is PCT, loop of Henle, DCT, and collecting tubules, are lined by epithelial cells or tubular cells, which I have drawn with green color in this diagram. Can you see the epithelial cells? So all these tubules from inside like cylinders, these are lined from inside by epithelial cells. Epithelial cells, or you can say tubular cells. All these are lined by epithelial cells. Correct. Now I will draw the afferent arteriole, come, form a tuft of capillary. Efferent arteriole will leave, and that efferent arteriole will form vasa recti. So I will connect the diagram. Can you see in this diagram? In this diagram, this is the afferent arteriole entering inside the Bowman space, forming a tuft of capillary. Efferent arteriole is coming, and it is forming vasa recti. Now I will zoom one specific portion for you. Now, can you see? I have not drawn all the epithelial cells. I have drawn only one epithelial cell in this diagram. I have drawn only one epithelial cell with green color, although the whole tubules are lined with the same epithelial cell. Just for explanation, I have drawn one epithelial cell. One epithelial cell. On one side of the epithelial cell, there is a lumen of the nephron. Can you see here? This is the lumen. And on other side of the epithelial cell, there is blood vessel. That is vasa recti. That is blood vessel. So that is the basic. Every epithelial cell has two sides. On one side, there is lumen containing urine or filtrate. On the other side, there is blood, that is vasa recti. Vasa recti capillaries, that is containing the blood on every side, because these capillaries cover the tubules very tightly all around. Correct? So this is the zoom portion. So with the help of green color, I have drawn an epithelial cell. On one side of epithelial cell, with the black color, you can see, here is the lumen containing the urine, containing the filtrate, rather I say, not urine. And on the other side, just a second. On the other side, there is blood. So here is urine, here is blood. And in the center, there is epithelial cell. Epithelial cell have two surfaces, two sides. The side which is facing towards the lumen of the nephron, this side is this surface of the epithelial cell is known as luminal membrane, because it is facing towards the lumen. And this surface of the epithelial cell, which is facing towards the capillary, is known as basolateral membrane. So each epithelial cell have two membranes. One is luminal membrane, luminal surface, and basolateral membrane or basolateral surface. Correct? So this is the basic. So I have drawn it. The whole tubules, PCT, loop of Henle, DCT, collecting tubules are lined by epithelial cells shown by green color. On one side of all epithelial cell, there is lumen of the nephron. On other side of all epithelial cell, there is blood in the vasa recti capillaries. So that is the basic. If you got this basic, then coming on the topic, that is diuretics. Now, what are diuretics? What are diuretics? What is the definition of diuretics? Now, most of the students have a misconception, that is, diuretics are the drugs which cause elimination of water from the body in the form of urine. But it is the elimination of sodium as well as water, not only water, sodium as well as water. Such drugs which causes net loss of sodium and water in the urine are known as diuretics. Such drugs are known as diuretics. There is an exception, that is osmotic diuretic, which I will cover in the next lecture. They do not follow this definition. They only causes elimination of water. They don't cause elimination of sodium in the urine. So by definition, they are not diuretics, but still we call them as osmotic diuretics. So there is one exception. Natriuresis is the loss of sodium in urine. Kaliuresis is the loss of potassium in urine. But diuretics is the loss of sodium as well as water. You know the golden rule, water always follows sodium. Wherever sodium will go, water will follow it. So that is the golden rule we have already learned in physiology. Correct? Now, after the definition of diuretics, I am coming on the classification of diuretics. Classification of diuretics. Diuretics are classified in three major classes. What are the three major classes? High ceiling diuretics, medium efficacy diuretics, and weak diuretics. High efficacy, medium efficacy, and weak. There are three major classes depending on their efficacy. I will come on these classes one by one. First, finish the classification. In high ceiling or high efficacy diuretics, there are three drugs. Furosemide is the prototype drug here. If you want to learn one drug, that is the furosemide. That is the prototype drug of this class. Also, there are two more drugs, bumetanide and torresamide. Bumetanide and torresamide. Historically, there were two more drugs in this class, that is ethacrynic acid and merceride. You can elongate this box, but these two drugs are banned now. In most of the countries, it is banned because of some major side effects. Ethacrynic acid and merceride, they cause ototoxicity, severe ototoxicity and deafness, because of which both of them are banned now. So they are not enumerated in classification, but you must learn these are also high ceiling diuretics. So high ceiling diuretics are furosemide, bumetanide, torresamide. Apart from it, two more drugs, ethacrynic acid and merceride. Correct? Coming on the medium efficacy diuretics. Medium efficacy diuretics have two classes, benzothiazines, benzothiazines, and thiazide-like. In benzothiazines, there is hydroxychloroquine, hydroxyflumethiazide, and benzthiazide. Among these, only the first one, that is the prototype, hydroxychlorothiazide. And in thiazide-like drugs, there is chlorthalidone, metazolone, zipamide, indipamide, and clopamide. These five drugs are thiazide-like drugs. Overall, in medium efficacy, the prototype drug is hydroxychlorothiazide. You must learn the prototype drug. In high ceiling, it is furosemide. In medium efficacy, it is hydroxychlorothiazide. Now coming on the weak diuretics. In weak diuretics, there are three classes. Never forget, there are three classes. Carbonic anhydrase inhibitor, only one drug is there, acetazolamide. That is the prototype drug of this class. Then coming on the osmotic diuretics, which I have told you, they do not follow the definition. They causes only loss of water, no loss of sodium in urine. In this, there is mannitol, glycerol, and isosorbide. All these are sugars. Mind it, all these are sugars. These are known as osmotic diuretics. Now, and the third class in weak is potassium sparing diuretics. In this, there are two classes, aldosterone antagonist, that is spironolactone, and iplerenone. And the other class is renal epithelial sodium channel inhibitors. The prototype drug here is amiloride and triamterene. Correct? So you must learn the prototype drug in all the classes. It is a complicated classification. If you don't want to learn the whole classification, at least you must know the prototype drug of each class. Correct? So that was all about classification. After classification, I want to tell you the site of action of all these drugs, all these diuretics in nephron. Now, obviously, all these diuretics acts on nephron, but nephron have different parts, that is PCT, loop of Henle, DCT, collecting the. So, which diuretic acts on which part of nephron? For that, I will give you a mnemonic, so you will never forget it. Correct? So, this is the simplified way of classification I have written in front of you. Can you see it? So this is high ceiling diuretics. High ceiling diuretics are also known as loop diuretics. The other name for high ceiling diuretics. What was the prototype drug here? Yes, can anyone tell? That was furosemide. In medium efficacy diuretics are also known as thiazides. Also known as, the other name is thiazide. And weak diuretics were having three classes. Remember it. They were having three classes. That is carbonic anhydrase inhibitor. The prototype drug was acetazolamide. Osmotic diuretics. The prototype drug was sugar. That is mannitol. And potassium sparing diuretics. That is spironolactone and amiloride. Correct. So these are the so total there are 5 classes, one from the high ceiling, one from the medium efficacy, and 3 classes in the weak diuretics. So total can I say there are 5 classes of diuretics. There are 3 classes, but the third one again having 3. So total there are 5 classes. I will assign one alphabetical letter to form a mnemonic to each of this class. Correct. The loop diuretics, I will say it is L because it is starting from L. Loop diuretics, that is high ceiling. Thiazide, I will assign the letter T because it is starting from T. Thiazides, that is medium efficacy. Carbonic anhydrase inhibitor C. Osmotic diuretics O. And potassium sparing P. The initial letter of each class I have taken. Correct. Now I will give you the mnemonic. Correct. Now for the site of action, this is a nephron. Can you tell me the parts of nephron? I have already told you. This is glomerulus. After glomerulus, what are the parts? No diuretics acts on glomerulus. Diuretics only acts on tubules. They don't act on glomerulus. So what is the sequence of tubules? The first thing which comes in line in row is PCT. The second thing is loop of Henle, descending limb. The third thing is loop of Henle, ascending limb. Correct? This is descending limb. This is ascending limb. The fourth thing is DCT. And the fifth one is collecting tubule. You know the sequence. We don't have to mug up the sequence. We know the diagram of a nephron. First we draw the glomerulus, then PCT, loop of Henle, descending limb, ascending limb, then DCT, then collecting tubules. Now the mnemonic comes here. Just give me a second. The mnemonic is COLTP, old P. COLTP. What was C? C was carbonic anhydrase inhibitor. So carbonic anhydrase inhibitor acts on PCT. O stands for osmotic diuretics. O acts on loop of Henle, descending limb. L stands for loop diuretics, high efficacy diuretics. Remember? So they acts on loop of Henle, ascending limb. T for thiazides, that is medium efficacy. They acts on DCT. And P stands for potassium sparing diuretics, and they stand for act on collecting tubules. So if we know the sequence that is of tubules, that is PCT, loop of Henle, descending limb, loop of Henle, ascending limb, DCT and collecting tubules, so you have to mug up only one mnemonic, COLTP, cold P. So that is the mnemonic. So this is a nephron in front of you. Just see it. So these are the 5 parts of tubule: PCT, loop of Henle descending, loop of Henle ascending, DCT and collecting tubule. Now one by one, the diuretic will come. C stands for carbonic anhydrase inhibitor. O stands for osmotic diuretics. L stands for loop diuretics. T stands for thiazide diuretics. And P stands for potassium sparing diuretics. So COLTP. So that is the mnemonic. So mnemonic is cold P. COLTP. COLTP. C stands for carbonic anhydrase inhibitor, which acts on PCT. O stands for osmotic diuretics, which acts on descending limb. L stands for loop diuretics, which acts on ascending limb. T stands for thiazides, which acts on DCT. And last, P stands for potassium sparing. D stands for collecting tubules. So never forget, many MCQs comes on this concept. That is a site of action of diuretics on different parts of the nephron. You will never forget it. Now I will take one by one all the 3 main or 5 main classes and explain you these diuretics in the following headings. The headings must be common. So first tell the drugs, all the drugs in that class. Then tell the definition, why loop diuretics are known as loop diuretics. You must tell the reason. Why medium efficacy are known as medium efficacy. Then the most important is mode of action. Then pharmacokinetics of the prototype drug. Then uses, adverse effects and interaction. You must, all the drugs in pharmacology must be described in these headings only. So you must be able to write in your exams easily. So That was all about this lecture. That is the basics of diuretics, the structure and physiology of nephron, and also the classification and site of action of different diuretics. Hope you like the lecture. If you like the lecture, don't forget to subscribe my channel so you will get the notification for further lectures, further videos. And if you have any doubt in this lecture, you can ask in the comment section. I will respond. And if you want the PDF or written notes of my PPT, if you want it, just to revise at the last moment of exam, uh, you can go on my website, that is MedLife by Dr. Priyanka, and you will get all the PDF there. You can also join my Facebook page as well as Telegram channel. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye bye. See you again.